I thought the two people from the Lions Club were gonna come and stay for a while. It is 6 o'clock on November 20th, 2018, and this is the beginning. The Billerica Historical Preservation Commission is now in session. Please stand.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have a motion to adopt the agenda?
Make a motion that we adopt the agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You had a chance to read over the minutes? Okay.
Motion to accept minutes as presented.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment? None. Reports of officers and board and standing committee members. I had asked Kim for a list that she had drawn up for the plaques and asked her if she'd send it to me, and she didn't, and said she was really, really busy, but starting next time she should be able to take off Tuesdays.
Okay.
So she'll be able to come. For some reason or other, she thought we were meeting on a Thursday. And so that's it, but we do need to make sure that we can get these done as soon as possible, because we've got, how many of them are in, Tracy? 5 of them are done. So we need to make sure we've got that. And what about our new young couple from the Victorian House? Have they filled out an application yet? Do we know? No, okay.
From which house?
The Victorian House on Main Street, the pink?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I've been going back and forth with Denise and Tracy about a mix-up that we had with this tour of homes. The unfortunate part is that for 24 years or so, I have always had an open house for my neighborhood, former students and friends. And yes, I've always had a tree in every room. And so somebody knew that, and I was asked if I would be part of the tour. So I said, sure, why not? I'm already doing it. Well, because of my association with HPC, apparently people thought HPC was sponsoring it. And we weren't. I happened to go to a meeting a week ago Thursday for all of the host families and that were doing the thing, and people were being assigned something. One, Barbara Daniels was asked if she would take over the transportation. And then she said she was going to be gone, so she asked Matthew on and I if we would help. So we said yes. Because Matthew was there, I thought Main Street was part of it. And we discovered later that it wasn't. Matthew said, why don't you come to the Main Street meeting? I went to the Main Street meeting on Friday morning, and on their agenda, they had a check for $500 to be made out to HPC. Which was like, where did this come from and how did they get HPC in there? Because it wasn't supposed to be. City manager asked me if I would write a note because they were going to donate some vans. At first I said, well, if we're going to sponsor it, I suppose. On the other hand, I said, no, I can't write a letter because we didn't vote on it and this is not any involvement of ours. So I said no, which meant then that somebody else had to go contact the city manager and do all this sort of stuff. I think they now have it straightened out. Apparently the Arts Council is going to accept the check and they're going to be using that to rent extra vans that they have to rent. So we're not a part of that at all. But I panicked. I said, it was guilt by association, I suppose. If people know that I was HBC, but that I had the house decorated, that was fine. So anyway, it is decorated. I am on the tour. And yes, all my decorations are now up.
Good.
That's how it happened. So the email that I kept talking to you about, because I knew we would have to talk about it maybe, we don't have to anymore. It's all taken care of.
Okay.
Okay. New business.
back up. Let's make a motion to table the historic home plaque program to the next meeting.
Oh.
So, do things correctly on the record.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Table.
all right, that's, yeah, okay.
All right, what are you gonna do about your work session?
About the work session.
Proposed work session.
That's only a proposed, we have not even thought about it, we're just talking about it, so it's a discussion type of thing, it doesn't require a vote at this point, it's just a discussion. Until we hear from, we've got Dr. Cray coming in January?
We just have to let her know.
Okay, she will come and speak to us in January about what she went through in the other part of it. And I think we need to get some more information and gather all of that first before we end up with a proposed work session, because that requires 19 days' notice,
Yeah.
3 different ways to the public before we can do it. So until we hear more of it, we're gonna have to really be working on this on our own to put boundaries in so we can be thinking about it and then do an overlay. But that's where we are at this point.
All right, the speaker is going to be who again?
Pardon?
Who will the speaker be?
Dr. Cleary, she's the one who did the initial Villa Rica assessment.
She did the historic inventory.
Yeah, all of that,
Phase 1 and 2.
right. And on top of it, we've got the applications for new people. We've got 3 of us up for reappointment, and so much better to postpone this until January,
Right.
until we know what's going to happen and who's going to be where, or whatever. Okay? All right. The recommendations for new member appointment?
Okay, Lanice Lyons, planning and zoning specialist, city of Villa Rica. So, we have 2 applications in for new members. And we can do those. The first came from Ken Norton. I'm not sure what order you have yours in. Is it Alan White first? or
It was Alan
Wait a
White,
minute,
was
Alan
that
White.
came
We'll start
first.
with Alan White. All right, so, Alan runs a all-in-one home renovation company, and he's interested in protecting and preserving historical sites and structures, particular to Villa Rica business and residents. And that's what's in his application. What's gonna happen is, you guys will make a recommendation on the applications, and for the tenure, for their initial appointments, and then that will go to city council next week for approval on the recommendation.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how you wanna do it, but one has to be for 1 year, the other's gotta be for 2 years. Or you can do 2 members at 2 years, 1 member at 1 year.
Well, what did we ever work out as to the 4 sitting members to have, what was their terms, when do they expire?
So all 3 of you terms expire at the end of December. And then
Okay.
Kim Poor's expires on February 2019. We can take hers in January.
Okay.
For you 3, I thought it not to be appropriate to discuss, because that's at this setting, because the city council has to vote on your reappointments. They have to reappoint you. I've done a summary page for each one of you to go on the next agenda. Well, it's all 3 of you on one agenda, on one summary
Yeah.
page.
Right.
But I'm recommending that you guys do 3-year appointments. And I know there's the rule about how many years you can serve, but it's not like there are 1,000 people knocking down the door to serve on the commission. You guys have been here. You're all working towards expanding and growing our HPC, so I thought it'd be appropriate to recommend you for the highest term limit of 3 years.
Okay.
And if you guys, I said that you all expressed interest. If you want to email me something saying I would like to be reappointed, I can certainly add that to the packet. and make sure that that's read into public record, at the meeting, because I'll be presenting the item.
Okay.
So,
And that is December of next year, so,
you guys,
No.
December of this year.
12.
of this
31.
year.
Yeah,
So
12
the
31.
next month.
Oh, because I took over,
Somebody else.
We all took
Laura
over
Booth.
somebody's.
I forgot that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so you've been on, like, since April?
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
You two have been a year and a half?
Yeah, a couple, I think, almost 2 years, I've been for a year and a
Almost
half.
two, one. So I put that you've been serving since April, and you two've been serving since, for the past year and a half.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roughly.
And for Alan White, Alan has restored the oldest house in Villa Rica. It is on the corner of Thomas Dorsey and Spring Street across from the Pentecostal Church. It was due to be destroyed. I mean, it was in really bad shape, and they have completely restored the whole thing, outside, authentic, and all hand done. All the millwork has been hand done. Modern
It's
inside, but that's not.
the blue one, blue and white one.
Yellow.
Jello.
Yeller.
It's yellow with a red roof.
Yeller.
They're on the corner.
Is it old yellow?
Oh, 1868.
I'll have to go look.
So if you guys are
I know
cool
which one you're
with
talking about.
how we're gonna do, you three being reappointed,
Yes.
Yeah,
just email me
that we're fine.
something and,
We'll take care of
and then,
Why don't we just
Yeah.
say, I want to be reappointed?
And I've already
Yeah.
said
it. Does
that.
it have to be, it has to be in writing? Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that it has to be, but
It'd be better.
are you all interested in being reappointed?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, okay, is anything supporting that you wanna add to why you wanna be reappointed? I think it might help, might not, I don't know. But I think from where staff sits, with you guys being here for as long as you have been, and I can see like through the minutes and everything, the turnover that happens within this board, if we're trying to work on something together, and starting from scratch every time is not gonna
Much
help.
easier,
So,
yeah.
but if we have the same group of people working, then I think that helps. I think that's something that we can certainly bring up.
And Bobby didn't say that it had to be in writing. He just asked me, he said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Yes." He said,
Okay.
"Good." So I think it was
Okay.
just a
Yeah.
verbal.
Okay.
All right, so then we'll take the first application, Alan White. So you guys,
Do we have a motion to move forward with this one to city council?
How is that, how does that need to be worded?
Just
I make a motion to recommend.
I make a
Alan
motion that
White
we recommend
for-
Alan White
to
for,
city council.
to city council for appointment to the HPC.
Second.
Do we need to
Do you have a
recommended,
recommendation on the time served?
you said one needs to be 1 year and one needs to be 2 years?
Yeah, one member can be 1 year, two members can be 2 years. So you got two applications, you can do both of them for 2 years.
Yeah.
If you like.
Let's do that. Let's recommend him for 2 years.
Okay.
All in favor?
Do we call for a second?
I second.
You said
Okay.
it.
All in
Yeah.
favor?
Yeah.
Yes,
Aye.
okay.
Motion carried.
Aye.
All right, then this,
Well, when we get there.
When we get
But
there,
second.
yes, but Alan White for 2 years.
Alan White
Correct.
for 2. And then, so the next application is for Ken Norton as the project he's the project manager for Ridgeland Construction.
Yes.
Um,
It's over on Magnolia Street.
It says his wife and I, they said, my wife and I are very committed to the historic preservation of our city. We live in a Queen Anne Victorian constructed in 1900. He lists some other boards he like to be a part of, VRDA, DDA, MSAB, on Main Street, okay. But that's your second application.
Right. Do we have a motion?
Motion to accept Mr. Norton for nomination to the Historic Preservation Commission.
A second.
Okay. It's been moved and
Hold on.
seconded
Yes.
that we
Okay.
approve the
That-
application for Ken
To
Norton
go,
to go to city council for
Right.
election. Okay.
Election.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion
Okay.
carried.
So then, I guess next we would, once, whatever we get back from city council,
Swear in the first meeting of January.
January, because we're not having a meeting in December, is that right? Third Tuesday, which is what?
Seven,
I'm certain it's a holiday.
1, 2, 3.
Long
Nope.
holiday.
third Tuesday of December is the 18th.
The third
So
Thursday,
nothing.
the third
You
Tuesday,
guys
third Tuesday.
It is the
in-
fourth
Oh, yeah.
Tuesday that is Christmas Day,
Yeah.
so,
So we still are okay for the third
Yeah,
Tuesday.
and we do have Fancy Boutique coming next month.
okay.
Yeah,
For a sign application.
sign application, yeah. Okay. Also had a gentleman come in today for a historic plaque marker
Mhm.
at 315 Walker Street, just FYI. He said his wife sent him. He said he has a 9-foot pink bunny outside his house.
Oh, yeah, okay, yes, yes. I know,
Do you not know Mr. Adderholt?
yeah.
I didn't get his
They
name.
do now.
No, the bunny is Mr. Adderholt.
And they are part of the Christmas tour. Their house will be on the
Yes.
Christmas tour.
I'm going on.
There's the pink house on Main
Follow
Street,
y'all, man.
two streets, the
20
pink
bucks.
house on Main Street,
$20.
Okay.
No
The-
freebies, no freebies.
two houses on Magnolia, the house with the bunny, and my house are the 5 houses that will be on the tour.
Now, don't go to Walker Street to see the bunny. You gotta go on Dallas Highway.
Usually we're used to her name is Pink, and so we usually go by Pink.
So is it
for
y'all
first.
named the bunny?
No, there's a whole story about him.
For
I don't.
years. They
It's
paint,
been there forever. They paint him
they
different
dress
colors.
him up, they paint him different colors, whatever she wants. And her name is, I mean, we talk about the rabbit house, but her nickname is Pink. And so usually people know her for years and years and years as Pink.
So if nobody knew what I said before we started talking about bunnies and they just heard y'all talking.
There's only one 9-foot bunny in Villarica, so.
There's only one 9-foot bunny.
It has been in several magazines, it has
Yes.
been written up
Take
in
a note of that.
articles. Yes.
In the minutes.
Now, if
So-
I'm not mistaken, the Easter,
Horses is.
the,
Oh, yeah.
the Easter, not episode, that's not the right, issue of Villarica News and Views had a whole article about the bunny
Yeah.
and where he came from.
Mhm.
And it says Mr. Adderholt on the bottom, or
Yes.
Adderholt, Adderhoff, something like that.
Big article in the Times Georgian
Yep.
several times in the West,
I can't believe you don't know
West
this.
Georgia Pet Magazine, yeah.
I think it's
Like
concrete.
a peep bunny? Like
No,
a peep?
no, no, no.
Like marshmallow?
Listen.
When I'm thinking bunny, I'm thinking peeps. 'Cause you said peeps.
No, this is,
Is it like a big concrete or cement type?
yeah.
Let me see if I can find it.
And they dress it up and they paint it and whatever color she decides to do it for whatever season, and she puts,
And if she doesn't like it, she just throw a light on it.
yeah.
Wow, News and Views, Villarica, and Times, Georgia, and Mr. Adams.
Yes, and at the meeting, I mentioned having a plaque, so that's probably what got him into it.
So he came out today to pick up an application, and I gave him my card, told him if he wants to email this in or bring it back to us.
They will follow
and
through.
We will work on getting him a plaque
Yeah.
for his house. Villarica News.
I'm trying to, he has a Facebook page, but for some reason Facebook won't let me open this up, so.
Oh, it's a.
There he is.
signal's
It
bad.
is bad in the building.
It has been there as long as I've been here, and I've been
Can
here
you see that
30 years.
picture? Let me see if I find, yeah,
Yeah.
there he is, Mr. Adderholt.
Yeah,
He has Atterholt, Mr. Adderholt.
yes.
And he has his own Facebook page, and they change his outfits all the time. Sometimes he's a turkey. Is he a turkey right now? I don't know. Last year he was a turkey.
And when I was at West Georgia, and we were
Let me see.
teaching
I'll
up in
find you some
Cartersville and
pictures.
everything else, I always knew I was on the right road. This is 30 years ago,
This is fascinating.
because on the right road, if I was on the road with a rabbit, I knew I was headed in the right direction.
So it's like the big chicken
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
serves as like to
Yeah,
let you know you're near
landmark.
Similar,
water.
yeah, a big landmark, right.
Fascinating.
Only small towns.
That's fascinating.
Oh, yes. Here he is. There he is as a turkey.
He's in disguise. Fascinating. Okay. I made notes about Mr. Adderholt.
You got to know this story.
Yeah.
How many years has he been there?
As I said, I know at least 30, because I've been here
Yeah.
30 years, and from 30 years ago, in 1988, it was there.
He was there when I was a child, so, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you, the more you know. So, well, then that's all I have tonight. I will email Dr. McCleary, this see if she can come to our January meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's still at West Georgia,
Yeah,
and I had a chance to talk to her, and she kind of went through what it was like going through the process and the people involved, and kind of what brought, you know, HPC to Villa Rica. So we'll work on that. Fancy Boutique is coming next month.
yeah.
Um,
And Dr. McCreary I'm talking to her only about the baptismal font, based on
okay,
who did it, because that has nothing to do with what we were doing right now, but I
Right.
wanted to know what she knew about the people who were doing their little archaeology dig there, so she's giving me that information.
Okay.
okay. That's all I have.
Can we have a status update on the facade at the McCreary Law Firm in downtown?
What was, the
McCreary,
glass was missing? You said-
no, the rocks are falling off the facade.
And at this point, there's like a piece of broken down particle board and 2x4 that was kind of,
And the second window is now
Hanging
popped out as
dangerously.
well.
I think, our code guys might have gone by there, but, I don't think I had that much detail to tell them when we first spoke about it. 'Cause
you
I
have to
didn't-
get out of the car and go look because the tree blocks it.
Yeah, tree
So
blocks
if they
it.
don't get out of the car and look up at the building
And
behind the
because
tree.
when we first noticed it at the end of summer, there was a 2x4 hanging out with nails, open nails, that if they fell down, it could actually hit somebody or poke them or whatever those
This
nails.
is strictly on the facade. The facade is needed.
The fascia of the building.
Okay,
Mhm.
okay,
And like a second story, what he's done is to cover up the windows with wood and whatever, and that's what's falling apart. The particle board is all disintegrating and falling down.
Yeah, and there's the rock was, we'll call it stuccoed onto to the wall face with, you put a wire mesh up and then you put a
right.
backer on it, and
That's
you
what
then
it-
stick it, you stick it up on
Yeah,
it. And it's all failing, and it's falling down the street. We've told you this since,
I know we talked
we've
about it.
passed the message on since August or
Yeah,
September.
yeah.
Yeah, at least September. We did it in the office in August when we came back from a little road trip we went on.
Yeah.
I thought I talked about it to our code guys, but I might have whiffed on it. I apologize.
And it
I'll
may be
get-
that they simply drove by, because like I said, if you don't actually get out of the vehicle and look up,
Yeah,
the
and-
tree
and you-
blocks
And
it.
you just can't go, oh, knock on the door and nobody's home and go,
Yeah.
oh, well, I'll get you later. No, you need to go back to the office and write a first-class return receipt letter and say, what you gonna do about it? Here's our statement. Here's our position.
Okay.
You're talking to an attorney who actually has in his business repertoire, I handle personal accident liability claims. Now,
I agree.
why in the world would you wanna have someone
A liability in your building.
liability, you know, and I don't know who actually technically owns the sidewalk, but I believe the city does.
It's
Yes, the
considered
city
public
does own
right
it.
away,
Because,
we don't
because
own
the,
the-
because the curb and gutter are definitely yours,
right?
and I say not you personally, but as the entity,
Right.
as a placeholder in
Gotcha.
the entity of your employer. But,
Understood.
but the city does own the curb,
Okay,
and so this could potentially fall and hit you on the curb.
okay. I'm not sure what our staff looks like tomorrow, but
Well, Monday for sure.
Monday for sure.
Out the
At the
door.
minimum, we can have, cause the things that you guys have brought to us before, like the fancy boutique, and even the awning.
I
We
s-
have to be very careful with our protocol because on
No,
that
we-
end.
we just want you to
I
know
got-
about
yeah,
it.
thank you
Just
for
do
bring-
something,
thank you
just
for
do
bringing
something
it
about
up
it.
again. So
Yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna tell you how we've been handling
Yeah.
it lately.
I also
is-
spoke to Rosemary Norton,
Yeah,
and reminded her that the fancy place has to have that vinyl rubberized paint removed from the historic brick
Right.
on the front of their building.
they have,
Fancy.
They have
boutique.
painted it, and we mentioned that before as well.
Yeah, latex.
You can just peel it right off the brick, and that's illegal to paint over historic brick. They have painted it a cream color on the front,
Yeah.
and on the side it's a whole different color.
That's an old paint job.
The reason that the southern part of it that Mr. Large owns has not been done yet is that Mrs. Norton was waiting on him to approve of the
color.
Not the people who were giving them estimates.
Okay.
He was waiting on, she's waiting on him to approve the estimates for the painting that they're going to do.
Okay,
And so that's why it
She
hasn't
did
been
say
done
something
yet,
like
but as
that.
soon as he gives her the estimates,
okay.
then she will do it.
My concern with that, with the paint job, is that was painted before she took over. That's been painted for a while, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
never
So-
looked different to me, so, and I don't stare at those buildings so much.
There's a
it-
fresh coat of paint on it, but,
It looks like they just freshened up. what
yeah.
was there.
Yeah,
But
she-
they certainly did do the rubberized paint, which would not be.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't-
they painted over that just recently.
Right.
And then on the side it's a whole different color, which according to Mrs. Norton, Mr. Large will be, once he gets the estimates for his building, he will put in a request to do the rest of those buildings that he owns and keep them more consistent with each other.
Tracy, can you make a note that we, bring up the McCleary Law Firm and Fancy Boutique, tomorrow to Charlie or Travell? Anybody? Robert's probably out. Okay, and, oh, that's right. Dang. It's just like two people.
Holidays.
The cheese stands alone. Okay, well, I'll, if we have code people here, I will bring it up, and I'll certainly, get a note to Bobby and to Tom about it, just so they know that we're trying to take steps. What, the way we've been handling it now is initiate contact, and they really wanna try to handle it without making it so formal, because I don't think we, necessarily, like, the way they wanna approach it is much softer than just programmatically, we did this and this, and now we cite you, now we go into court. And there been some cases that we're reaching the point where we have to go to court, but those have been going on since I started working here last year. So I know the process that's been taken to get to that point, or to the, at least of the point of citation, is taking a lot longer
Yeah.
than
That's fine.
typically, but I will,
We just want to bring things to your attention.
I appreciate you too, 'cause
Okay,
it's your town.
thank you,
All right,
Renee.
Fancy Boutique, big old square.
Any other discussion or ideas or?
One last thing, next month, Planning Commission and City Council will hear the Avamore project that we kind of talked about before.
Uh-huh,
It's going through DRI, it's this site over here on 61.
right,
And on that site is Camp Lucretia and the historic Williams Mitchell Farm, which they're planning to save, but this is going to be quite a large project. But I know those two sites are on there, and I'm going to recommend that the
we add those to our
applicants,
sites,
the applicants apply to have those put on our local register
okay.
as landmarks.
So
Just a-
as the list that we now have of 6, we can add those 2 to make it 8.
Oh, on this?
The
What's the size?
the landmarks that we would like to have designated as local,
Yeah, local historic landmarks.
we have 6, like the Hillside Cemetery, the Civil War Cemetery, the hospital, baptismal fount, the jail, and I think there was one other.
Marchman House.
And the Marchman Powell House. So that's 6. This would make it now 8.
Well, this would go on the local register, which would mean they would have to come to you to make any modifications to it. I don't think any of those other ones that you guys just said have to do that.
Okay.
But this would definitely put those in place to be preserved as they are,
Okay.
you know, regardless of what happens with this project. So I just, because the Williams Mitchell is historic and on the National Register, but that still doesn't mean it has to be saved. It just means you're eligible for tax credits, for rehab credits, rather.
Now, they're going to also be part of that possible pocket neighborhood area. Is that correct?
Well, they talk about doing pocket neighborhoods throughout the development. The trail is supposed to go out through Bay Springs Creek
Right.
along there. We're in concept phase now, and what happens after concept phase, they're actually gonna go out and see if they can lay out the concept plan the way they described it. And after they've done that, they come back to a final development plan, final plat process for the flag development to get that approved by council, so that they can move forward, breaking ground and doing all kinds of stuff. They actually get the zoning at the final plat phase. Right now, they have a concept of what they like to do, and that's where they are right now. And they're looking for approval from planning commission and city council on the concept. And as any zoning project, you can approve, deny, or do approval with conditions. And right now, we're looking at conditions, and I just want to let you guys know that was one that I talked to Tom and Bobby about, that I'd like to see move forward with that project,
Oh, yeah.
however it turns out. So,
It's an awesome project. However,
Fantastic.
my question then is, with these being designated as a local historic site, will that have any impact on part of that neighborhood pocket concept?
no, it's gonna preserve the area where the site, where it is. It doesn't lock the whole area in, but where the farm is, where they're saying Camp Lucretia is, that will have to be preserved to a degree, you know, like, cause I think some of the original farmhouses or some things are out there. Some structures are out there from the farm. They would have to save or restore some of those.
Okay.
Or anything they wanted to do to, you know, to those structures, if they wanted to move them, if they said one is just too in bad of a shape to maintain, they have to come see you. If they want to do anything to it, they have to come see you guys.
Okay.
And that's what I want to get attached to that, just so we can start building our inventory of landmark sites and everything throughout the city. And before we lose all the agricultural land to development, let's lock in some kind of semblance of who we used to be.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome.
Anything else? Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Stand up and go
Aye.
home. Hey.